All right, clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools. Clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools. You know what? I always say I'm going to have a whole show. I just say that over and over again. So, you know, people like, I don't even know what this school is. I drive by this school a lot, but I don't even pay attention. Like I did before. I'm doing the same show over again. And I'm not in front of the camera anymore. People say, Mark, I ain't seen your show. I've been on. The show was always on. I just don't have the need to be in front of the camera. Plus, I don't do those sit-down talk shows downtown like I did for many, many years. You know, time goes on, people. Time marches on. I'm on State Street. Clean, I told you earlier on all the shows, I wanted to do a whole show. I just babble. Clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools. Clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods. So I'm showing these vacant lots because the vacant lots we used to be Stateway Garden and Robert Taylor. I think Stateway Garden's over here. I forgot what exactly what the line was. Stateway Garden and Robert Taylor. But Stateway Garden and Robert Taylor been gone. Oh yeah. And you know, and it had to go. Here's an old school. Y'all know the schools over here. It's a vacant school because they pushed the black people out. Say, Robert Taylor used to be over here. I don't know what they build. They building this new, like, I don't know, low-rise building. I don't know if that's CHA, mixed use, a market. I don't know, you know. There's the White Sox Park, and you can't see it. White Sox Park in the distance. Comiskey Park, U.S. Cellular Field. It's over 35th Street. Let me come over here. Okay, I can come over there. I should go by the police station. See, they tore down the projects and put this building. It's a nice looking building though. I don't know the CHA. See, these other units look housing projects look. See, these units look they look like public housing units, mixed use. I don't know what. You know, the point is that they for every public housing unit they tore down, they didn't replace it. They just didn't replace it for every unit they tore down. No, normally I videotape early in the morning, but today I'm doing it. I'm videotaping like, I don't know, noon. It's like noon. That's the famous De La Salle. Evidently, De La Salle is holding up. People still spending them big bucks for that Catholic school education. You know the Gumbo brothers, Brian Gumbo and his brother Greg. They went to De La Salle back in the day. I think Mayor Daley and a lot of folks came out of De La Salle. But, you know, people still want that good Catholic school. I don't know if it's a Jesuit education, Catholic school education. They want to pay for it, go right ahead. That's the police station. The police station used to be on 11th and State, 11th Street and State Street, 11th and State. But they moved this thing down. Man, this thing has been here for long. I know about 20 years, maybe 15. I lost count. But they moved down here years ago. Moved out. It sure could be 20 years, man. Time go by so fast. And they moved the police station down here when the projects were still here. And people were afraid. Gentrification. The white folks gonna take our land. They gonna take my house and all this kind of foolishness. And well, some people did lose their house. Okay, I get that. But there hasn't been a mass, especially because of recession, there haven't been a mass exodus of black people and a mass influx of white folks in these neighborhoods. Although it is prime real estate. We're only 35 blocks from downtown, walking distance to the lake, walking distance to White Sox Park. You know, what more do you want? Prime real estate, but not enough black people have moved out to get white folks to move in. And I ain't mad at nobody. It is what it is. But, you know, I hear that old canard. I want to say canard. I'm using canard sort of incorrectly, but I like saying canard. I like a bromide. That's the wrong use of bromide, but I like saying canard and bromide. But, you know, people, they have this cliche saying, oh, the white folks moving in, they want to take over our land. They want to take over our neighborhood. Most African Americans, including me at times, we ain't never been to McHenry County. Really to see the neighborhoods of McHenry County, Kane County, even DuPage County. And it's white folks on the collar counties, man, they don't care about coming back here. No. 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 You know, I thought this school was named something else. This says, man, I need glasses. This says Ida B. Wells Preparatory Academy. So they've had so many changes in these schools here in Chicago. You don't know if it's a traditional public school, a charter school, a magnet school. You know, they made so many changes. See, I was mentioning earlier, clean neighborhoods, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools. That's what people want. They're not going to move into a neighborhood until they know this is a clean neighborhood, this is a safe neighborhood, and the schools are good. See the Ida B. Wells housing project is gone. It's a vacant lot. And, you know, I mean, it's complicated, people. But see, the real story is African Americans, most of us came from the South. Either our parents, our grandparents, maybe our great-grandparents came from the South. You got that? The South. The South. This is where Ida B. Wells used to be. And further down, the Madden homes, the whole nine. The Madden homes, and I've said this before, the Madden homes, and all that's been torn down. And Ida B. Wells was torn down. And, you know, oh yeah, they did want to move poor black people out of Chicago because, let's face it, it sounds cruel, poor black people are the problem in Chicago. Now, I had a guy on the television show, on the social media. He was he wasn't chastising me. He was questioning me, sort of accusing me of being one of those radicals, wait, that's not radical. One of those Republican type Negroes who are criticizing the poor, who is denigrating the poor, blaming the victim. And I said, yeah, you're right, I am blaming the victim. I ain't gonna lie to you. I am blaming the victim. I am blaming the victim. I get it. But I do understand that poor black people were created because of public policy and racism and segregation. Yes, hundreds of years of slavery. Hundreds of years of slavery. Then after that, 100 years of segregation. Legal, de facto, de jure, whatever fancy words you want to use. And bad public schools. The criminal justice system. It goes on and on. You may see a glimpse of some of the newer public housing units they built. They're really nice, and they have been kept up well over the years, mainly because they probably screening the tenants, because they didn't build one for one, and you can't bring Pookie and Ray Ray back to the new apartments. That ain't happening. So yes, I understand. Poor black people were created by racism, discrimination, and public policy. I know that. We all know that. But, and you need some public policy. I did a video, I interviewed Salim Muakil, and you may have seen the video on the internet. And he says we need a Marshall Plan for poor black folks. And that includes me. A Marshall Plan.
What I have been talking about recently is this thing about cultural capital. Maybe I should be more explicit about that. You know, as I said to you earlier, Mark, we were created as a people by slavery, as an ethnic version of the African diaspora, as African Americans. That hyphen that connects us it connotes a dual identity and a dueling identity. And because we have that dual, we've been unable to develop the kind of culture that gives us the foundation to be successful, to encourage behavioral traits that cultivate success. Examples, the Jewish community. Basically, wherever they go on the planet, they tend to be disproportionately successful because they have the kind of cultural capital that's enshrined with a religious belief and propagated with a religious belief that inculcates certain behavioral traits that are conducive to success wherever they go. That is the same with what you would call overseas Chinese. They tend to be disproportionately successful. You know, they have a behavioral code that's been honed by centuries of positive interaction with other people. Um, so that culture is honed to a point where they they have behavioral traits that encourage success. Other cultures, there are other examples um, all over the planet, and it's something that humans do when they have an opportunity, when they are unencumbered and when they are unoppressed. They tend to accumulate this kind of cultural capital. Often they are prevented from doing it by other kinds of factors, but generally that's what humans do. Black people in this country, African Americans, were prevented from doing that because our culture had to deal with um, the orthodoxies of white supremacy. We never had the opportunity to develop our own coherent culture because we were prevented from doing that. As enslaved Africans, we were prevented from cohering with people from our own tribal groups, our own language groups. We were prevented from speaking our own languages, from communicating with each other, also from learning the oppressor's language. We were kept in a state of inertness because we inert folk make better slaves. And so we never had the opportunity to develop the kind of self-sustaining culture that can accumulate cultural capital. We had to be concerned with deflecting white supremacy. So that accounts for, just as we were prevented from accumulating economic capital, and that accounts for our relative impoverishedness, we were prevented from accumulating cultural capital, which I think is a much more grievous degradation than the economic capital. Because with cultural capital, we could create whatever we needed. We see what happened in Rosewood, for example, when we had just a sliver of opportunity in Tulsa. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, and also in Rosewood, Florida. But there are many other communities around the country where you see episodes of African Americans who were inordinately successful because we were unencumbered. We had the ability to accumulate that kind of cultural capital. That's what we need. And without that ability, I think we'll continue to be scattered and ineffective, and we will lack viability as a community. The way that we develop this cultural capital, however, is another problem that we have to deal with, and that is, I think, a Marshall Plan from the government, the only entity capable of marshaling the kind of resources necessary to do the job, to enculturate a people who have been systematically degraded over centuries. It's a serious job. The sooner we do it, the better it can be done. And it's not so much African Americans, it's this entire society that stands to benefit, and it is this entire society that stands to suffer if it is not done. How long can we tolerate a society that reproduces its own dead weight? We can't do that. So I believe that cultural capital can be accumulated with a compensatory program, business development assistance, educational assistance, housing assistance. All of these subsidies, I think, are necessary to develop the kind of cultural strength and solidity, not so much solidarity, but cultural solidity that will enable us to move into a more productive direction. And it's not asking or begging the white man. We've earned this. And there are people who have done reams of research detailing the actual cost of enslaving people for centuries, for no wages. Trillions of dollars we are owed, legitimately unearned income, labor that has been, income that's been diverted from people systematically to another people. We inherited poverty, they inherited our compounded wealth. The entire West was developed on the backs of the enslaved Africans and others, but primarily enslaved Africans. And so to deny that historical debt is to continuously be in a sense of high denial. And until that is acknowledged, that is acknowledged, I'm afraid American society will continue to limp along, crippled, not capitalizing on its amazing wealth that could be much more efficiently exploited. Thank you.